Hi there, I'm Gary. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you've been here before. Today I'm looking at the featured kit of the week, the HOBBYCRAFT Sea Fury in 1/32 scale from HOBBYCRAFT. Now if you like the show, do please remember to subscribe. Doesn't cost anything, and if you hit the button, you'll be notified of all my future content. And don't forget to hit the like button below. Every like counts. Let's get on and have a look at the kit. This is the third in a series of Sea Fury kits released in 2007 by HOBBYCRAFT. The others were the Cold War Warrior, with markings for the Fleet Air Arm, Royal Australian Navy and the Cuban Revolutionary Forces, and this box with markings for Egypt, Iraq and Pakistan. The box art in this kit depicts an aircraft from 870 Squadron, Royal Canadian Navy. The schemes provided are all on the back of the box. These include 3 Canadian schemes, 1 from the Royal Netherlands Navy, and the superb all-red aircraft from Germany that was used as a target tug. But what do we get inside the box? Let's have a look then and see what's inside the box. Now the box lid lifts off very easy. That's because it's getting old and it's a bit wobbly in places, but comes off easy. It's still a sturdy box lid. Now what you'll notice in here is all this. I'm not sure whether HOBBYCRAFT ever actually put a load of bubble wrap inside their models, but hey, maybe they did. I don't know. But I don't think so. It's probably part of the second-hand thing. You check out what's inside and maybe wrap it up in bubble wrap to make it easier to sell, make it more sort of secure when you sell it. Anyway, inside we have got the instruction leaflet and we have got the decal sheets. You'll notice there's no tissue over the decals, but I think we're okay. They don't seem to have been damaged in any way in the intervening time. And then we have some plastic. We have one bag containing lots of parts. There's a couple of loose bits there. I don't know whether they've actually, they've come off a frame here. But that is the beauty. If the bag is still as sealed as original, that's the beauty of these bags. That's why these bags are actually here most of the time. That's why manufacturers have them. So if stuff does come off the frame, it's going to still be in the bag somewhere, rather than in the box and potentially lost. So the bag's intact, so hopefully all the parts will be in there. If the bag's been opened and resealed, then if you're buying second-hand and you can look at these things, do check that all the bits are actually there. Or indeed, if you buy something second-hand, when you get it delivered, check that everything's there. We also have the big bits of plastic, so the 2 fuselage halves are separate here. The bottom part of the wing and the 2 top parts of the wing. And there's another bag here. I'm guessing that all of these bits were in that bag originally. And I'm also guessing that they were attached to these bits of frame that are left here as well. There's also a bit of transparent frame here, and there's a transparent part in here. So this has obviously been taken out at some time to check it. Do check over the transparencies as well. The one thing about transparency is, being on a frame, well, probably the other way around, sorry. Being on a frame and then coming off like this is sometimes they're not going to be entirely cleanly taken off. So you might see some, especially on these transparent parts, you see that crazing, the shock crazing where things have come off and you can feel they're not entirely flat, not entirely as you would have done if you'd have cut those off with a pair of nippers. But you know what, they'll be alright. This will be okay. It's clean enough anyway. We'll have a look at in a bit more detail at the parts that we've got. Originally, frame A would have contained just these 2 fuselage halves. There would have been a frame here, a feed line here, maybe over here as well, to fill the plastics. But that would have comprised frame A. What was originally frame B are, of course, the upper halves of the 2 wings. And frame C here is the bottom half of the 2 wings. Now, you'll notice there's feed lines here. I do wonder whether there'd have been little connectors here, and then the other half of the wings here, originally in the moulding, because the lines do match up a bit. So I do wonder whether originally on a frame they were actually moulded like this with a couple of joints here, maybe from a central sprue here. Guess I'll never know unless I buy a completely new one. In fact, I think that would have been the case because this is frame C, so frame B would have been all of the wing panels together. As I've mentioned before, these parts of the aircraft, these are the tailplanes, would have been in there originally, but they've come off the frame, but they were included in the packet, so that's fine. Other than that, we have the rudder, engine cowling and spinner, propeller blades, wheel doors. These are the exhaust, tail wheel, main gear legs, the control column and the seat. Then in frame D we have the wheel well, main wheels, rockets, fuel tanks, bombs and the cockpit floor here. Having a look at the plastic itself, it's okay. It's a bit thick and chunky feeling, and the panel lines are relatively crude. This is 1/32 scale. I'd expect much more detail than we're getting here. You see, there's no attempt at anything resembling riveting, or I know a lot of this was flush riveted post-war, but even so, there'd be something here. The panels would have, there's no, these are fasteners here. There's no clip. The clips are very, very roughly formed there. Not the greatest surface detail, I have to say. I mean, taking this down to 1/72, this level of detail would be kind of all right, but 1/32, this is relatively crude. However, the plastic itself is nicely molded. It seems stable enough. It is, as I say, it's quite chunky. There's no terrible flow marks anywhere. It's relatively clean, but really lacking in detail. It's the same with this underside of the wing. You can see the machining, the result of the machining on the tooling itself, these streaky lines. Not the greatest, I'm afraid. Here, the ejector chutes for the 20mm cannon are just sort of suggested, really. If you're going to do a decent build of that, I'd imagine you'd actually drill those out and cut those out to actually be proper ejection lines. Again, there's a lot there, a lot of detail there. Like there's a lot of panels are drawn out. However, a lot of these really would have a lot of markings, a lot of rivets, a lot of panel. These ribs would be visible probably here. All of these would have lots of rivets around the periphery. Fasteners, reusable fasteners like Decals fasteners, those would be here. So it's okay, but it is lacking quite a lot in detail. The wings are pre-drilled for you, so you don't have to drill them out. I suppose if you're not going to use those particular weapons, then you're going to have to fill them in. And so you can see the machining line from the tooling, the creation of the tooling there, very, very clearly. And again, when it comes to fine detailing, they're okay rather than anything spectacular. I mean, this instrument panel, there's a lot more to a Sea Fury instrument panel than this. So, if you're going to have an open cockpit in particular, that actually looks like is that scratched? Or yeah, that's scratched as well. If you were going to have an open cockpit, you would definitely replace this with an aftermarket piece. I'm not having an open cockpit, so I will try and dry brush this stuff on. Maybe sort of fake in some switch locations and stuff like that. The exhaust pipes here are, they're very simple, very basic. They're not actually pipes at all, they're just blobs. So you might want to try and just do a bit of work on those, just to try and open them up a bit to make them look like pipes. The control column, very basic. Main legs, basic again. You know, it's like it almost, but not quite with this. In a lot of ways, the detail at 1/32, these should be a lot more detailed, a lot more. This is the step that comes down for the pilot to put his foot into to get up onto the wing to climb on. That should be much finer, much more refined than that. Interesting and very odd things are here. We have, these are the covers for the wingtip nav lights, and that's a cover for the approach light or landing light. They're covers, complete covers. So I don't know if you're supposed to paint these chrome and then put colour onto them, or what you're supposed to do with these. They really need to be clear parts, but they're not, which is quite strange, actually. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do with that yet. So here's the first of the decal sheets that comes supplied with the kit. Most of this is for the Royal Canadian Navy. Here you can see these huge, beautiful maple leaf logos. Here on the smaller logos, you put the maple leaves on separately. There are markings for a Dutch naval aircraft, Royal Dutch Navy. You'll notice that the centres of these are in white, and you put the orange on top. And that just gives like the brightness of the orange. I guess maybe they couldn't overprint them and get the right result, or they couldn't just screen in the orange directly anyway, and just maybe wouldn't have looked sharp enough. And there's some markings for a German aircraft here as a target tug, and some stencils here. Not that many stencils, I am glad to say. On this part here, these bits here go on the spinner of one of the markings, and these go on the fuel tank for that aircraft as well. These markings are for one of the Canadian aircraft as well. In fact, probably the one I'm going to be doing. And here we're looking at the printing very close up. Again, this is our standard 0.5mm pencil lead, and these are considerably more than 0.5mm high, but they are very clean, very clear. Even this yellow footstep mark is okay. You'll see the registration is almost right on. It's very slightly to the left there, but not terrible. One interesting feature on here, if I can find it, here we go, is rather than print a very detailed badge, they've had the sense to print the colours of the badge and then the lines around it then superimpose on top to give a much more detailed decal than they could do with straight overprinting with black. So that's a nice touch. I've seen that done on several things, several kits in the past, but I think on this kit that's a very nice touch, because I think that make quite a difference to the quality of that crest. Other than that, the colours are very good actually. Let's have a look at the orange. It looks okay. I think it's probably a screen colour rather than dots, but I can't really see it myself. I'll have to have a look when you do at the final products. And again, the German flag there, black, red, and gold. Those are printed colours, directly printed colours, so they're not screened as dot screened. You can see the resolution. Sorry, the reso here for the alignment. The yellows are thicker and not exactly in line, so they're almost but not quite there. But the yellow lines are quite a bit thicker, which is common with yellow because it's a very difficult colour to print. You have to print it slightly larger and thicker to get the depth of the yellow, or you risk the decal looking too thin and too washed out. The instructions are basic, let's just say. The reproduction of the box art here is almost non-existent. They've only just used the black channel for that and haven't bothered with trying to reprint the other colours to give it any kind of reality. We get a reprise of the description. HC 1718 is the code of the kit, 1/32 scale, and it's the NATO Defender version of the Sea Fury. Colours here, you get references for the Flockquill polyscale set. You get markings for the Humbrol range, quite old markings to the Humbrol range, I would say, and for Tester's Model Master here. It says here some paints may not be available in your country, but Tester's is rarely seen. Flockquill almost never seen. The only ones you tend to see here are Humbrol, and of these, they do an extra dark sea grey, and it's not matte dark grey 156. So anyway, there we go. Yeah, kind of strange. And the symbology here is also explained. The instructions themselves are occasionally puzzling. I don't know. I don't really understand some of it. Here, for example, in one, it puts the seat in and put that in, and it shows you here put them in. Standing up, I don't know. The controller here has to go through by 7mm. So I would have thought having some sort of little step on the part to enable that to happen would have been useful. Part 2, you glue the wings together. Again, in part 3, you glue the wings together. So you glue them together there, and then you glue them together there. Beware of part 2. So maybe just should put that on. Maybe that's just to show where these things go exactly. Again, there's a part here called C32. I guess it's a radiator screen. It goes in here and it says make sure they're 4mm behind the line. Well, why don't you make the kit so that it can't be put in more than 4mm behind? That would have been nice. Hey ho. The pipes for the exhaust here as well, and the stub for the propeller, and the staging for the rear wheel are here. Then you put the cockpit in, you put the instrument panel in, but then it tells you here to put the decal on the instruments, and it's telling you to put the things again, put them down. It's all very confusing. All very confusing. I mean, if you've put the two parts together, and here they're telling you making sure you put other bits in, like the throttle, and it's all very strange. I'll just wing it when I come to building this thing. The undercarriage is straightforward. The weapons are very straightforward. The prop, interesting. You have to make the prop yourself, but yeah, hopefully can't be too difficult. He says can't be too difficult. We'll see. The engine just has like a suggestion of the tops of the cylinders. There's absolutely no real engine detail. Canopy goes on. Pretty much it. And then it all comes together again. The instructions are some details omitted for clarity and simplicity. Well, that is just a very strange statement indeed, because it just makes it more complex, I think. Anyway, there's not that many parts, so it can't be that tricky. There it is, certainly not as detailed as many of the kits you'll see in this scale, but it should make a decent enough Sea Fury in any case. If you've liked the show, do please remember to subscribe. It's free, and if you hit the bell, you'll be notified of all my future content. And please do hit the like button below, because every like counts. Thanks so much for watching. Hope to see you again on our channel soon. Take good care now, and goodbye.